Yo, just got off of work. Man, that was honestly a good shift, but it wasn't necessarily like good because of what I guess occurred. Like, you know, in terms of like the job itself, it wasn't good because of that. Though I obviously enjoy my job, right? It's not to say I'm sitting here working and actively hating the process and hating my job right now. We don't operate like that around here. But truthfully, amazing shift, and it's why I want to come on here and speak about this. But first of all, I gotta show y'all the haul. Right? I gotta show y'all the post-shift haul. Here's the highlight for real. Right, got some ground venison, right, ancestral blend. So it's some ground venison with some venison liver, venison heart. Right, this brand right here, goated. And aside from that, it wasn't nothing crazy. Just some broccoli. These eggplants. I've never had eggplants, but I just felt the compulsion. I just felt the urge to get them, honestly. So, you know, we committed on that because, hey, our compulsions, our intuition, you can never neglect that. But I wanted to come and speak about opening yourself up to opportunities and insights and just solutions to the things that you're actively striving for within your life. You see, this shift right here was honestly, as I mentioned, it was a great shift, but it was because I went in with this intention. Because usually with my shifts, it's like, you know, I'm kind of just either like a cashier. I'm just like sitting at like the self-checkout area the whole time. And so it's like one of the things about my job is that it's one of the few times within, you know, my day today where I'm like super engaged in just my thoughts, but because I have no choice. I'm not gonna sit and be on my phone like an absolute, you know, loser while I'm working, you know what I'm saying? But it's one of the few times I'm really just sitting with my thoughts. And so I like to leverage that opportunity to just start meditating on, you know, a whole bunch of things. You know, I'm pretty sure I made a video not too long ago about, you know, actually about how I was sitting at work. I was sitting in my job and I was just like meditating and journaling on, I guess, it was fulfillment. It was like how I could make my day more fulfilling. So, you know, right there, that's proof that, yeah, that is how I like to, you know, spend my time whilst I'm working. And so going into today, I went in with the intention of opening myself up to insight regarding, you know, my current priorities, my current goals, especially within, you know, training and, you know, the gym. And needless to say, you know, I got the insights I was looking for. I got the answers and I got the solutions that I was actively looking for. And it just proved to me that within this journey, so many people, and of course, you know, I fell victim to this, you know, so many times, you know, over the past few months, where you believe that in order, when you want to solve problems, when you want to get the solutions, the answers to the things that you need to get done, right? For me, obviously, you know, like right now, it's like, oh, how do I, you know, actively align my training, my diet, all these, you know, things to ensure that I'm able to transform and, you know, achieve the physique, achieve, you know, the strength gains, the mobility gains, all this within, you know, just being in pursuit of leveling up physically. So often that people just immediately go to like the experts, the science, or just other people in general for these insights. And one thing I came to realize, especially after today's shift, was that when you think about, you know, how you might go towards others for solutions, it's like the truly successful people are the ones that they got the answers, they got the solutions from like within, right? They got the answers from within. They didn't go out searching for the answers online, right? They just got it from intuition, from just sitting with their thoughts. You think about, like Steve Jobs or like Bill Gates or, all these like rich, famous people that went on to do, insane, like, start Apple, start Microsoft, whatever. It's like, do you think that they got the idea to make these, big companies from looking externally? Do you really think they got it from actively asking other people or just going to other people looking for the solution? No. I guarantee you, I would bet 100%, that they literally just sat with their thoughts, or like they just allowed their thoughts to run, and then one day it just clicked, right? It clicked like that, and they basically manifested, billion-dollar companies just from sitting with their thoughts, right? And it goes to show that, the insights and the answers you're looking for, it's like you shouldn't be seeking externally, right? It's why I always preach, to internalize your power. It's a huge part of my own personal standard, is that you always want to prioritize internalizing your power. Right? You never want to externalize and immediately go out and rely on others, right? Especially this morning as I was driving to work, I was also meditating on a verse while at work and while driving. And, maybe I'll throw it up right here, but it went something along the lines of how when you are actively seeking wisdom from God, when you want to obtain that wisdom, that knowledge, you have to ensure that your loyalty towards God isn't divided, right? That your attention isn't divided, that you're not, in the middle between living for this world and, trying to externalize your power and trying to internalize your power via, allowing God's voice within your head to speak those insights, those solutions. And that's what I went into today's shift with. I like to use affirmations, oftentimes, especially when I'm working, because, I just get to sit with my thoughts. And it's not like the affirmations where it's like, oh, I'm rich, I'm sexy, I'm special. No, right? We don't run like that here. But it's like I'll affirm like things like, verses and just principles and concepts that I want to like keep in mind that are actually, beneficial. And it's not just me, repeating like some BS, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I went into today's shift just affirming that and just telling myself like, yes, I'm gonna open myself up to these insights. I'm done trying to, go online looking for, how to train this muscle effectively, how to do this, how to do that, right? I'm just gonna allow my own thoughts to, play out. And that's exactly what I did. And by the end of this shift, or, especially during like the first break I got, literally used that opportunity to create a split that I came up with within my head, like this new split and this new approach towards my training to really lock in on just developing my physique in the ways I want to. And it all came from intuition, right? It all came from intuition, and I couldn't be more satisfied and fulfilled with how, my thoughts played out within this regard, because I know that, the solutions I couldn't have gotten these things externally, right? I couldn't have gotten a better solution from anybody else other than myself in terms of what I'm currently striving for. And that's really what I'm trying to get at, is that when you want solutions, when you want answers, ensure that it is coming from within, right? It's not to say you can never externalize your power and, go seek insight and advice from others, but it should only come after you've set the intention to just be like, you know what, let me see what I can come up with. Let me see what I am capable of, what my own intuition and compulsions are leading me to do. So my phone ended up overheating, so that's cool. But long story short, man, it really just comes down to internalizing your power, like giving yourself permission to come up with your own solutions, right? Because truthfully, the best solutions, you don't realize it, the best solutions are the ones that are specific to your circumstances alone. And that can only come from within, from here, right? It can only come from your heart, because your heart, your soul, that is what knows you best, right? It is who you are. And to think that you can go to other people and expect to, discover the solutions, the things that you feel will finally get you the progress you want. It's like, even if you do find certain things that work, it'll only be temporary. Truthfully, it'll only be temporary. But when you set the intention, man, anytime you have a problem, anytime you need a solution, you just need an answer, you just go within instead of just living without, constantly living without, in terms of, believing that you need to just rely on others to make progress, to get to where you want to go in life, to become your 2.0. It all starts from within, man. And so that's, of course, a huge part of my standard, something that I'm constantly trying to, reaffirm to myself and stay true on. But yeah, if you guys can do that, man, I'm telling you, it'll serve you extremely, extremely well, and you will 100% get the things that you're looking for. You will make the progress you want, and it'll be authentically. It'll be through who you are. It won't be from what, this person says. It won't be from what the science says. It won't be from any of this external, these external things. It'll just be from you, and that's all that matters when you're striving to become your best self, not anybody else's, definition of what your best self is. It's your own, right? And that's such a powerful thing in this day and age to have, to be able to know that your own intuition, your own compulsions, your own insights hold weight. But if y'all got value from that, because I know, that, I would say, these spiritual talks really are these are just the things that I wish I knew, like, way, way sooner, especially earlier on in my journey. But it's like, it makes sense, within the journey of 2.0, you start off operating on the physical, then you begin to understand, oh shoot, the mental's important, and then you reach the spiritual, and you realize that all along that was what truly mattered. Because when you double down on just spirituality, developing yourself spiritually, becoming attuned to your heart's desires, becoming more authentic, knowing what it is you want out of this life, everything comes downhill. Everything comes downhill, and you're watching it in real time. This journey that I'm on, all that I'm going to achieve, all that I'm setting the intention to do, it's all going to come downhill because I realize how important spirituality is. But if y'all got value, drop a like, drop a comment. Feedback always appreciated. But I'll see y'all next time, baby.